Good morning. I'm going to call us to order. That was cheesy. I'm going to call us to order for the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District Board meeting May 17th. It is the appointed hour, 9 a.m. We will start with a roll call. Carla, will you lead us in the roll? Thank you. In the roll. In the Pledge of Allegiance. In the roll call. It's going to be a long meeting. Hey. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Forgive me the slip. All right. Madam Clerk, would you call roll, please?
Yes. Von Hartung, Chair.
Here.
Alexis Hill, Vice Chair via Zoom.
Here.
Bob Lucy.
Here.
Kitty Jung.
Present.
Jeannie Herman.
Here.
Fire Chief Charles Moore.
Here.
Deputy District Attorney Mary Canderas. Here. And I'm Chief Deputy Clerk Kathy Smith. You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Chief, will you take us into item number 3, public comment?
Yes, sir. Public comment. Comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the Board of Fire Commissioners' agenda. The district will also hear public comment during individual action items with comment limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments are to be made to the Board of Fire Commissioners as a whole.
Thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk, do you have anyone signed in for public comment?
No one is signed in.
Okay. We will close public comment and we'll bring it back to the board. Chief, item number 4.
Item 4 is Commissioner Fire Chief's announcements, requests for information, topics for future agendas, and statements relating to items not on the agenda. No discussion among commissioners will take place on this item.
Chief, do you have any such items?
2 announcements, Mr. Chairman. One, the United States Forest Service will be burning in the Dog Valley area today. There's a 90-acre understory burn, so there'll be smoke visible for most of the area. We do have an engine up there that we are assisting them with, and we have now about 12 personnel and 1 engine out on deployments all the way to Florida, Michigan, Colorado, and New Mexico. That's about the maximum that we'll be able to send out, so we're kind of tapped out there. But nevertheless, lots of fires in the western U.S. right now. That's all I have.
Okay, but my only comment is I'm glad we have an engine out in Dog Valley. Yesterday, as I mentioned before we started, I happened to be working up on my roof. It got really windy several times, and in fact, took a bucket that I was using and kind of flung it. Blessedly, it didn't fall because I wouldn't have to go down and get it, but some other stuff did fly off. So I'm hopeful that we don't have some strong winds out there today. Last thing we need is for that to get away. So I guess we'll pray. Commissioner Hill, Vice Chair Hill, I have you signed in next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to thank TM for sending our next Deputy Chief, Chris Kettering, to the Emmitsburg training that we went to for FEMA. I thought that it was an incredible experience to come together as a region and really see how we work together to respond to emergencies. And I think he showed a lot of leadership. And I just wanted to thank the district for taking the time to get a staff member out there. And I think that this region is really working together and prepared for an emergency, and will continue to do those exercises. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioners, anyone else? Okay. We will close item number 4. Chief, take us into item number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 5 is a recommendation to approve Resolution TM 07-2022, authorizing the creation of an enterprise fund pursuant to NRS 354.612 and defined by NRS 354.517 to be known as the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District Emergency Medical Services Fund, to account for the revenues and expenses related to providing emergency medical services, including but not limited to ambulance services to the district and the surrounding areas. If the board would like a brief presentation on this, we're prepared to give it, but again, the board may recall 2 weeks ago, this fund is being recommended so that we can track our expenses related to ambulance transport primarily.
You know, Chief, I like this for the simple reason that anytime you commingle funds, there can always be an issue, and it's I think it's wise to have this dedicated account set up. Commissioners, would you like a presentation? Any questions for the chief or for staff? All right. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, wait, I apologize. Do we have any public comment on this item, Madam Clerk? Okay, I'll entertain a motion either for or against, Commissioners.
Second.
Okay, have a motion by Commissioner Jung, second by Commissioner Lucy. We have asked for public comment. Is there any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? I believe motion carries unanimously. I didn't get anything on my screen to...
Oh, sorry.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. Okay, got it. Okay.
Okay.
We outran the clerk. All right. Chief, take us into item number 6.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 6 is the public hearing discussion on possible action on the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District tentative budget, including possible changes to the adoption of the final budget for fiscal year 2022-23. I would like to spend a little time discussing capital, but I'll let Ms. Vance give you just a brief presentation, and I'll segue into our capital projects.
Ms. Vance, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Commissioners. Good morning. So this is for the adoption of the final budget from the with changes from the tentative. As you're aware, we've been through actually the tentative budget a few times in the meeting, so I'm not going to do a full presentation. We didn't do, unless you want more information, of course. There's no significant changes into our revenues, some more matching for some of the expenses. The biggest change, of course, is related to the union agreement. So we have that expected to become for adoption next month. So those final T8 items were moved into the final budget. That did increase about $300,000 for salaries and benefits. And then there was a correction for, it was radios or SC bays that were not the right amount that we needed, so that increased services and supplies about $100,000. So that does change our ending fund balance, expecting to be about 13.3, which is still in our range of the 10 to 17%. Other than that, that was really our significant changes for our general fund. And those also did impact the new emergency fund because of the salaries in there. I did want to, and we had discussed on the last minute the debt issuance, and it is in the budget as a, excuse me, the payment, estimated payment is in the budget, but it is just a note that it is in consideration. So we will start the debt process because it takes 6 months, but during that time, we're going to continue to look for other options, grants, and we can stop it at any time, but to go through the debt commission and making sure that all those steps happen, we'll move forward with that, but we're still working with checking out like the infrastructure fund, trying to find grants and everything too.
Okay.
And with that, I'll let Chief talk a little bit more about the construction too.
Hold on just a second. Commissioners, do we have any questions for Ms. Vance? Okay, Chief, proceed.
So based on the feedback from the board last meeting, we're going to try to do the consolidated Washoe Valley Station and Hidden Valley. I'm looking at the floor plans and talking to the architect and the Seymour contractor to see if we can bring the cost down of the Washoe Valley Station to the point where we can do both fire stations next year. I did have the pleasure of speaking with Senator Masto on Saturday, and she mentioned to me that there is infrastructure money available in grants. She's going to direct her staff to call me, and so we'll be pursuing that. Thing is the federal government, of course, moves slowly on those kinds of grant processes. So our plan is to move forward to have the projects shovel ready. We'll keep the momentum going on getting the architectural done and the planning done and getting an SUP approval on both. But we won't proceed, of course, until we have some answers on whether or not we have some grants or whether the board would like to proceed on debt financing. Even though we'll take a few intermediate steps on the debt financing, we'll certainly look at grants as a way to funding all or partially some of the projects.
So, Chief, I'm going to refer to him properly. President Lucy will probably remember this also from NACO, and that is there was a tranche of money that was out there. I think it was only $4 million, but the caveat was, and the hard part for counties and municipalities to access these funds was that it had to be shovel ready within a very short period of time. And I don't know whether those funds are still available or whether we would qualify for any of those funds. And I know that it was through, I think it was through Cortez Masto's office, but I'm not 100% positive. In fact, again, I'm going to refer to him properly as President Lucy can enlighten us. Mr. Lucy.
Chairman, those funds were available. However, those requests had to be in about a month ago or about a month and a half ago.
Didn't they extend that?
I did not. I haven't seen that they got an extension. I do have a phone call with the senator tomorrow at 12:30, so I can ask her in regards to that. But I believe that they needed to get that closed so they could get that to appropriations. That was part of the infrastructure. That was part of the recovery bill that needed to get done. It was the community funds that they were calling them. And so that those requests had to be in. I will find out though and get you some more information about that.
Thank you. Something sticks in the back of my head that they extended that deadline because it was such a short time frame for people to get those applications in, and so I appreciate that. Vice Chair Hill, I have you signed in next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a question for the chief. Have you looked into that project labor agreement for that station? Because my understanding is that the infrastructure funding is for backed projects. And I don't know if the CMAR really would fit into that. So realistically, I think we need to be investigating what a project labor agreement would look like and start aggressively doing that research, and I don't know if the chief has already started that.
Commissioner Hill, I have not started that research, but I do know that however we approach the building, it has to be, we have to pay union scale. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, project labor agreement actually is a pre-hire collective bargaining agreement with one or two labor organizations. And so I think that would help make us more competitive. And I think that there's a reason that some of even our CARES funding, this is with my hat as a commissioner, but some of our CARES funding actually was, not being able to be used for the campus because we needed to go through some, labor backed projects. So I think that is something that needs to be researched for us to, have a viable federally funded project. I think it's well worth it. And so, I really would impress upon the chief to look into that because otherwise, that money, we won't be able to get it.
Okay, very good. I will certainly endeavor to research that.
Chairman, I was able to pull up some information on the specifics are the community project funding, and this is for fiscal year 2023. The Senate, any Senate member does not have a cap on this process. This is the earmark process that they've been bringing. It's just like the earmark process, but not the earmark process. And the congressional members have up to 15 projects they can bring forward. However, like I said, the guidance had to be filed for the House on April 27th, and Senate needed to be filed by May 12th. So now there is different guidances for different for different areas. For example, Labor, Health, and Human Services has until May 25th, and then Homeland Security was the 18th, but that's the only one that's still and Interior is open until May 27th.
Okay. The one I was thinking, though, was a very small tranche of money. It was $4
so they were
million.
broken out by the houses.
Okay.
And each project is available up to $4 million.
Okay.
And there's guidelines on each one of those through each different department. So Transportation, Housing, and Urban HUD has May 13th. Interior Environment is May 27th. Energy and Water is May 5th. Commerce, Justice, and Science is May 10th. Military Construction and Veterans Affairs is May 6th. Homeland Security, May 18th. And then Labor, like I said, Labor and General Government was May 12th. But Labor is still open. Labor, Health, and Human Services is open until May 25th.
Okay. All right. Commissioners, any other questions or comments? Let me just jump in. Chief, I wanted to note the programs that you have. Thank you so much for putting money into the peer support program. I think that's it's not just worthwhile, it's necessary. So I'm very appreciative for that. And I also want to thank you for the green waste program. And I forgot to ask you, I know it was very successful out in Washoe Valley this weekend, and so maybe when we get to the chief's announcements, you can tell us about that.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else, commissioners? Ms. Vance? Anything? Okay. All right. So looking for an adoption, is that correct? Ms. Canderas, an adoption of the final budget?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Commissioners?
Move to adopt, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay. All right. So I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not.
Okay. We'll close public comment. I will bring it back to the board. Have a motion by Commissioner Jung, second by Commissioner Lucy. If there's no other discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. All right. That takes us, thank you so much, commissioners and staff. That takes us now, Chief, to item number 7.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 7 is Commissioners and Fire Chiefs announcements. With regard to green waste, Washoe Valley, we had somewhere, I believe we reported around 260 loads, individual loads. Wow. Palomino Valley this last weekend was about 80 loads.
Oh, Palomino was this last weekend? It
Yes.
wasn't Washoe? My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe Spanish Springs is this weekend. Thank you, Adam.
Okay. Good.
And that will conclude it for the season until the fall. And we are using tub grinders to process all the waste, so there's not going to be no burning this year.
Okay.
Of all of the things that we collect.
Okay. Even though we have that high quality incinerating machine that produces very little to no smoke.
That machine's very effective in getting rid of large tree stumps, and so we use it for that.
Okay.
Not so much as big piles, because it takes a while to burn a lot of material, but tree stumps, it's great for that.
Okay. Are we composting that stuff? Are we giving it to, as we grind it all up and masticate it? Are we giving it to anyone, Chief?
NDF uses it, and it's available, of course, to anybody who might need some. But we don't necessarily look for places to give it away, and we do take some to recycling. Okay. For composting, but majority of it is used by NDF.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any other questions for the Chief?
Thank you.
Chairman.
Yes.
I wanted to maybe bring something to the Chief's attention on our sheet that's provided for us on the stations that are located within our districts. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's been some changes with the districts due to rezoning, not rezoning.
Redistricting.
Thank you, redistricting. And it is still listed here that the Wadsworth station is under your district. That is now under Commissioner Herman's district. And so I just wanted to make sure that we could get the volunteer Wadsworth 225 station changed
225, good catch.
to Commissioner Herman's district.
I know we moved the Station 37 over to
Yep.
4.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else, commissioners? Okay, we will close item number 7. Chief, take us into item number 8.
Yes, sir.
Final public comment.
Final public comment, item number 8 is comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person. It may pertain to matters both on and off the Board of Fire Commissioners' agenda. The district will also hear public comment during individual action items with comment limited to 3 minutes per person. And comments are to be made to the Board of Fire Commissioners as a whole.
Thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment?
No, we do not.
Okay, we'll close public comment and we'll bring it back to the board. Commissioners, well done. We are adjourned.